Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. This is Steph. This is an intro.
We don't know how to do intros.
Nope. And here's my co-host.
I'm Scott. I say dumb stuff.
And I hope you enjoy this wonderful show. Okay, you ready for something fancy?
Oh boy.
I'm so excited.
I'm excited about this.
Very nice. Very nice.
All
I
kinds
realize
of
that
fancy
my-
things.
Yeah, I have to take off. I'm gonna take off this so that we can see the dates. By the time this goes up, though, that's not going to be your most recent photo, but it'll
Yeah,
work
exactly.
for right now.
Yeah, that's all right. This one apparently somebody snagged and featured it. I think it was the TR4K guys.
Oh,
Chef Toyardee, he threw that up there, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
well, MJ posted it for you. Like,
Yeah.
featured it. Yeah, that's
yeah.
awesome.
So it was There's a bunch of cool guys and girls over there too.
Yeah, there's a bunch of new little things happening on Instagram right now. It's just kind of cool.
I've noticed a lot of groups doing a lot of features, and
Yes.
it's
like
and
little growing gangs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Little toy gangs everywhere.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, a couple of my buddies, Insane Dragon Ball, Theo, and then John from Pop Culture Crew. They're
Oh,
both in
very cool.
Australia, but it's like since day one we've been kind of buddies, along with Mike from Cup of Rad. And it's like the four of us are just kind of like, all right, we're tagging every single time. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's why framing is important.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You'll never know that there was a broken toy, a pop-up tent, and
Nope.
random forest pieces next to.
I'm sitting in front of my washer and dryer right now. That's
Oh,
what
hey,
I'm looking
hey.
at. So
I need to figure out how to get my background because, like, in front is where all my stuff is, not
Mhm.
behind me. So
Yep.
this is just a disaster.
It's the beauties of a rolling chair. It's just kind of.
great.
Oh yeah.
Position
perfect,
exactly where
right
you need to
here.
be.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, your
So
background
good.
looks amazing.
It's just all my random crap.
Well, I'm gonna start into it. I'm just like,
Do it.
I don't know if it's morning for you. Where are
Yeah,
you?
it's morning, West Coast, California.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go with that. I'm on the East Coast, so just pretend it's morning.
Perfect.
I'm good with
we're
There
that.
you
both
go.
we're both in
There you
Cali,
go.
so
Yeah.
that's perfect.
And I don't do small cups of coffee. These are
hmm
small cups
Amen.
are not for winners.
Amen. Amen.
Big cups, man.
Always.
Uh-huh. No, I was just talking to Scott. I'm like, I have to go get coffee, and he's like, I'm on my second pot. So
Yeah,
that's how
this
that's how
is-
the
yeah.
mornings would go.
This is the leftover. My wife went to work. She did the pot of coffee and took hers and left me half, and
hmm
here it is.
There you go. So, going into like the most important question of this entire thing is how you got your handle, which I'm intrigued because
It's very
I-
specific.
I wish there was a grand story behind it. It's just my initials and my birthday.
Oh,
Yeah, JDR, Justin Daniel Ruig, and December 5th is my birthday.
was this
cool.
your handle? Like, did you ever use this handle before for other things, like personal, like emails and things like that, and then it just kind of
I
converted to toys?
think my Gmail account is the
Okay.
same, and
All right.
then because I was on Instagram and Facebook before, and it just kind of took over life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
does.
That was more important than anything else. And my wife called me on it, and she goes, "Dude," and I'm like, "All right, I cut and dry. I good for since I think December, January. I just cold turkey out of it. I'm done."
Nice.
And then because I would still take pictures with toys and share them with some friends and stuff, but my friend Mike from Cup of Rad, he's like, "Dude, just jump back on and do only toys." I'm like, "Yeah, that's a good idea." My wife's like, "Yeah, dude, you'd have good stuff." So it's like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Did that, and there's a couple of personal things on there, wife's birthday or anniversary, but for the most part, it's all toys all the time. And-
I think that's awesome because I feel like when we're doing the toy stuff, like I feel like this on my toy page is the toxic nature of
Oh,
social media kind of goes away a little bit more.
it does.
When it's your personal social media, there's that competitive, like, who am I? Who are
Right.
you? Who are we? What are we? Like, it becomes this like existential like
Yeah.
chaos. Whereas with the toy stuff, you don't feel that as much. It's much
Absolutely.
more just sharing with one another. And so I
Definitely.
get that. I get the idea of just coming back and just doing toy photography. I don't really touch my personal Instagram page that often.
Yeah.
Like, I
No.
really don't.
Yeah. And I told my wife I'm tossing it around, getting back on Facebook and doing the personal stuff, and she's like, "It's not worth it."
No.
She
You're not
goes and
missing
she scrolls, and she mostly looks at the National Geographic and the travel sites,
Mm-hmm.
and a couple
Yeah.
of friends that we, that are a few, and they're farther away. So okay, that's what it was meant for.
Yeah.
To me, it's like, oh, let's stay in touch with friends who we can't
Mhm.
call every day,
Yep.
and
Keep up with
it's turned into something that's strange and horrible sometimes.
Yeah. No, it's true. Really
it is
true.
I
So-
I don't have a personal Facebook right now.
Yeah.
My job kind of like fluctuates for that because I do a lot of like I work at a bank, so I work in the back office area, so I don't want people knowing where I live.
Well,
So-
yeah, exactly.
so
Yeah, that's the
it's
other
a
thing.
kind of
It's like,
strange
oh,
thing.
this is me. I live in California, but I'll never tell you where.
Yeah.
Unless
Well,
you're
I
my
get a
friend,
lot of
I'll tell you.
people-
That's it.
Yeah, it's just funny. But it's like a lot of people think I live in a different state because I live at the northern part. I don't know where you're at, Justin. Are you down south?
No, I'm in northern. I'm about an hour outside of San Francisco. I'm like smack dab in between San Francisco and Sacramento.
Okay. Because I'm up in Eureka area.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So yeah, it's like it was a ways up there, so it's just
Yeah.
kind of funny. So you can tell why, I'm in the Emerald Triangle to put perspective on that.
Yeah. Yes.
But I just got off of Facebook, and it's been the nicest thing too because it helps with me having more time to take photos of toys and
Yeah.
stuff
Oh,
like that.
absolutely.
So it's like it's nice to know that sometimes this is more than a hobby too, because then you get to talk
yeah.
to people about all this stuff. But it's nice to put all that crazy. My kid goes to this school, parent teacher conferences, all that nut stuff
All
to the
that
side, and
adulting.
just like I just want to talk about stormtroopers for like 5 minutes. Let's just get out of the way. So that's fun.
Exactly.
So you've been taking photos of toys for a long time, on and off. How long you been collecting?
Oh, when Star Wars come out, my first figure. I wish he would. I wish he wasn't in the box right now. I still have my 1977 C-3PO.
Ooh.
I think my dad bought when they went on their honeymoon. The only thing that was open during the weekend in London at that time was the movie theater, and it was Star Wars, of all things. So I think my dad brought that home because they had a later honeymoon when I was like 3 or 4, but he bought that for me.
Interesting.
And then it was just balls to the wall from there on out.
Yeah.
Really, I had so many of the original figures from the original Kenner line. Lost a lot of that, but slowly as I find them, if they're affordable, I'm not going to pay an arm and a leg just to get something that I had back then.
No,
But,
they've gotten so. Some of them are so out of control now.
They're insane, and I just all right. I have a couple, and then it really exploded when Phantom Menace came out, and then the Power of the Force line for Star Wars came out,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like, I'm buying everything.
That was me. Yeah.
Because I had, I was my own job. It was my own money. Didn't have to ask for money. It's like, if I want to buy that, I can, and I don't have to ask anybody anymore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, and I exploded with those figures, and then the first Black Series, I was just roaming Target. Oh yeah, because I still collected the small Black Series when they had them, and then I saw out of the corner of my eye R2-D2 and Darth Maul, the very first Black Series, of the first wave, and I'm like, ooh,
Cool.
and it's nonstop, as you can see, ever since.
Mm-hmm. But what a character to start with, though. C-3PO out of everybody.
So good.
And he's wiggly wobbly, his paint's etching off, but I'm like, he's like the best figure.
And not to get like super over the top here, but like the fact that it's C-3PO starting your collection, and C-3PO is like the character that almost like started Star Wars, like
Right.
he's the beginning. Like that's kind of
Yes.
cool. You've sort of got this connection there.
Absolutely.
It's like he's so important to the story.
Yeah.
So it's like,
As annoying as he gets. in
Oh,
movies,
God, yeah.
But he's
Slap him.
lovably annoying.
of course.
Yes.
You
Like,
know. You're just like, oh, 3PO. Just,
Yep. Just stop.
just stop. You just knock it off.
So I'm going to skip the next one because that one's going to be a deep dive question,
boy.
basically going into like your style and stuff.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Scott's raring to go on this one too.
Oh God, yeah. I'm pumped. I'm
I
ready
want
for
to know,
this.
like, your collection
dig.
behind you. Is that the only place you have it displayed? I know in my house, because my boyfriend and I collect together, like we have different types. We have it in the living room. We have it everywhere. So
Yeah, for now, yes, it was in my room with my wife. There was a little bit in my son's room, and then we just let's consolidate, put everything in one spot. I have these 4 shelves, which I want to buy 2 more. My wife says 2 more, but then on the top is the random stuff. This is excellent for audio, by the way, all you audio people. It's just random. The Kotobukiya statues my wife bought for me. There's an AT-AT up there. There's a piggy bank up there.
very cool.
And then all above the closet over here, where we built the closet. Let me see if I can angle it. If I'm good at that, you can see them all lined up in the box.
That's cool.
And some of those, they're not in the box because of value. They're just in the box because I don't think I'll ever find that figure ever again. And pay more than I refuse to pay more than $30 for a figure. It's I mean, it's not worth. There's no figure out there that's worth that to me.
I'm super stubborn about that. Like it's not necessarily. So I'll pay more than that for a figure. I just won't pay aftermarket prices.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that's the biggest issue I run into.
Right.
Like
comic shop, if I run into there, like, oh, look at that. I don't have that. It's been for years.
Yeah.
$30, I'm in.
Yeah, and I can't get over like what people will sometimes pay for a figure that only cost $20 when it came out.
It's amazing.
If it was $100 when it came out, okay, fine, whatever. That is what it is. That's what the price was. But like when scalpers and stuff jack up the prices, it drives me nuts.
I hate scalpers.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible, and it's like my wife's like, "Oh, you can probably sell these," and it's like, I don't want to do that to somebody. If somebody really wants a figure, hey, $20 and I'll ship it to you. It's all good.
Mm-hmm.
But because when the carbonized figures came out a couple years ago, I lucked out and got the Sith Trooper. He's really pretty. He's really, that candy apple red that you want on your Mustang if you're a Mustang person. That's the color you want. And my wife's like, I was looking online and he's $100. I'm like, okay, he's gonna stay in the box.
Yeah. Plus, to be honest, the carbonized figures look great. Like I have the carbonized Mandalorian and like the carbonized Boba Fett, and they look really good in the box. It's hard to take them out because of how nice they look.
Yeah, so. I also have the Stormtrooper as well. Actually,
yes.
I won a second one from Quarters Traveling Outpost. I won a giveaway. And so I'm going to ship one to my friend.
Yes.
The box is just fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to touch that and open him and dirty him like I do with the rest of these guys. They're just like, you guys are open. You're gone.
Yep.
I don't know if I could do inbox collecting. I think it would be a disastrous path for me.
It's taking me all my work to like not open my Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight because that's one of the best versions of Luke, and it's like, I want to play with him so bad.
I know. Yeah.
But I couldn't. That's the only one I've seen in person.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, all right, you'll stay there for a little longer. Just a little.
It's too bad. All right, let's do the dive in now.
Doing it? Yeah.
So one of the cool things about having this on video is being able to pull up images from your profile and like kind of talk about it and talk about just how cool it is to see the pictures, because a lot of times on Instagram people get lost in the shuffle and everything like that. So we kind of get to deep dive into what is Justin and what is your account is amazing, because both Scott and I, we'll talk about this later, tried to take photos in your style and it was not
didn't always work. We tried, but
they were the photos you took, Scott, and those were awesome shots. I loved that. And then I tried to emulate. I tried to emulate that in another shot of somebody else afterwards. So I'll have to send that one to you.
I'm pumped.
Well, it's almost like I did with my K2 shot from when did we go? Last September.
Yes.
I had him on the beach.
Yes.
And just took off all the color, took off everything. It was silhouette. It's just like, that looks like a Scott picture right there. That's cool. And my wife's up on the hill with my family going, what's he doing? No, he's taking pictures of toys.
Absolutely. I'm just scrolling through, right now. Oh, man.
Let me see if this will go.
It's got such freaking good stuff.
Oh, yeah, she's...
yes.
That one's become one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was honestly the reason why when I did your style photo, I wanted to shoot a photo of her, because you've done some pretty cool things with her. Your very casual hero poses are, I think, such a key point to what you do. And I don't know if you mean to, but you don't do, some people do those really like over the top hero poses, the comic booky stuff, like, which is, I love that. I think that's super cool, but you do these real believable movements. And like this photo, like it looks like she's walking, but at the same time, there's this like comic book cover look to it. So it walks that line between like an over the top where she'd be like bending and contorting in some crazy position, but at the same time she's got that intense hero pose that's like, here she comes, she's about to wreck some stuff. And
right, her
really
guns
cool.
are drawn. And now that I look at it again after everybody else kind of analyzes and looks, it's like it's almost she's getting ready to raise the one arm closest. And either to go to the side for one of those, those just without looking shots or something.
And you can see like the intensity on her face.
Right. Yeah,
I was gonna say the way that you get light to lay on the figure is quite like awesome. Like it's coming from somebody who shoots outside, and it would like shooting indoors was quite hard for me. So it's like a way to get light to naturally like flow and like lay and have the shadows do the right thing is awesome.
I found a secret room at my job. I work for a transit company, the subway system basically for the Bay Area, and there's a little electrical room in there that has to be either hot or cold all the time. And I discovered it's like, oh my god, the wind's getting so bad, let me just duck into this room and go through. And I look around and I'm like, oh, there's places to put action figures here.
Well, that room is treating you very well. I love that you use it.
It's my favorite room. I have one. I'll share it with you too before I post it. I found a good spot for one of my other figures. It's on just tubing that's going up the side of a box, and I was able to balance him on the shot, and I'm just like, wow. This is just the whole, without having like a city behind me or having a whole lot of access to make those dios yet.
Yeah,
I love that industrial feel behind some of these figures.
Yeah,
and how if they're hunting or if they're just gathering together at a place, I feel like space would be industrial. It would be metal. It'd just be nothing but all that stuff around. It's like, oh, that's a pretty cool backdrop, and apparently it works.
That was something I thought about again when I was trying to pull elements of your style into mine. Was I said it in like kind of the comments, like the cylindrical industrial feel, the use of piping, the use of like columns, like that kind of effect. I was like, I can't take Justin style photos without incorporating at least that in like two of them. Like I was like, if I'm going to do a set of three here, at least two of them need to have that industrial cylindrical feel. And it is such a distinct part of how you, and again, whether you're doing, I know you do some GI Joes, I think too. And some, you cross the spectrum, and like they all work so well in that environment. It's so good.
Yeah, without having a jungle or a forest readily available, especially when I'm at work. When I do have quite a bit of downtime sometimes at work, and it's instead of sitting there watching Netflix or doing whatever, it's like let's go wander. Yeah, go take some pictures and I recently I brought a Jar Jar Binks with me, and I'm like, he needs a swamp, and I don't have a swamp. I don't have a pool in my backyard. It's not raining. It's California. It rains, a day a week, 1 day a year. So it's like, okay, where am I going to do? And I found a patch of weeds, set him down, took a picture. I'm like, wow, done.
Yeah, it works. Can make anything look like anything.
Right.
It's great.
And then the picture you just threw up there, I think that took me about 15 times to get her just turned just right to the light. I just wanted to see her.
Oh, but man, the glow off of the firearm and the
Where was
hand
she?
and
I think I actually brought one of my lights to work, and it's a little dollar store little light that I just set to the side, and I turn the lights off in the room. I'm like, oh, cool.
absolutely, absolutely.
I wish there was a lot more thought behind them, and there was big grand stories.
No, but
But
that's
it's like, oh, it's just point and
It
click
is.
sometimes.
yeah, and that's what works. And honestly, this type of lighting was part of the influence for the Thrawn photo that I took.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Like this is like those shadows and like the
mhm.
light from the side. Everything is just it is. I love this photo, I love
Especially
this
with a
image.
figure like her, because her armor is it'll sparkle and shine a little bit more,
She's so reflective.
more than a regular
Mhm.
stormtrooper or anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome. This one's my favorite.
Ah,
I saw
yes, it
this.
is.
I went back and I was like, oh my goodness.
Oh,
This
Mhm.
has to be the coolest thing I've seen in a long time.
Well, I remember commenting a lot on your stuff,
Oh,
Justin.
yeah.
During this period, I was talking to you often about it and
oh,
how
yeah.
it was such a cool. Like you went through this like if we think of you as an artist in a history book at some point down the line, and you look at this period, it was very like dark and
Yeah.
and horror inspired.
My buddy called it the
Um,
spooky season because it was
yeah.
October, and it's like, okay, and it was only in a span. It was really only in a span of what, 2 weeks, maybe, I think.
Yeah, but it was
And it's
so
like,
unique.
It's the spooky season. It's Halloween, and since Halloween was basically taken away from everyone,
Mhm.
Yeah.
let's have some fun and go play. And this was from an app that my wife found. She goes, "Oh, look at these! These are pretty fun. You can put these behind action figures." I'm like, "Oh, it's a good idea." So I took a close up of my Jawa and added the eyes on there, and it had that creepy extra person background there.
Mhm.
And so I just kind of cut him out of my other picture, threw him on there. I'm like, "Ooh!"
Yeah.
Sent it to my friend, and he goes, "Thanks for the nightmares."
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you should really post this.
Yeah. But there were so many others too that you did like this
Oh,
that were
yeah.
fantastic.
My favorite one is one of the ones I think you liked as well. It's one of the guy, the Sith.
Mhm.
He was walking through the forest. It was just like, and I just
about
played
to
with
look
it to
it up.
like, where is he? Oh, he's in a bag somewhere. I took him to work.
I never unpack in like the same week because I'm like
They're-
I want to be able to like take them back out if I don't. like
Yeah,
them.
they're all in here. I have my lunch bag for work, and I have my action figure bag for work.
That works.
So,
You don't want to mix the two.
oh no, never. I don't even think he's in here anymore. He's around here somewhere. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. It was Darth Nihilus.
Oh, it was Nihilus. Yeah, I found it. I just found
Yeah.
it. Oh, yes,
There he
yes,
is.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
So everyone's complaining about this figure. It's like, he needs to be taller. He needs to look less like Darth Maul. And I'm like, guys, they're toys.
Good call.
Yeah.
Relax.
If you want movie realism, buy the outfit from the movie and go wear it.
Yeah, and go
Yeah.
run around the forest.
These are toys. You didn't complain when you were little. Why are you complaining now?
Mhm.
But yeah, the one he's just, I don't know how I got his cape to be so big in that picture either. And because his cape is not huge.
No.
It's
But
not
it
big, and
looks
it's like,
massive.
and it just the way that picture came out. And it was another one where I just added a layer of like, oh, let's put forest behind it and let's make this darker, or let's make this, I want it to look like an old picture of the old horror posters almost, where they were just gritty, a little tiny bit out of focus maybe, and it's like, that looks really neat. And it just came together like at the right time.
No, I mean, coming from somebody who discovered your account like last few months, like because of Scott, like when I went back to look at all this stuff, and I'm like, I don't know, hope he doesn't notice that I'm liking like all these old photos. Like right
I
now,
always
like,
feel
you probably
really
like,
weird
how's
about that.
Steph doing?
Who is this
So-
person? Yeah.
Well, I do that too. I'm like, I find an old picture that somebody will share from memories from a year ago, and I'm just like, how did I miss that? And I go back and then I comment on that original post, and I'm like, hope you don't think I'm weird by doing
Yeah.
that.
But I went this far back in your history,
Right.
like 4 years ago when you started.
Yeah.
When you go and look at someone like starts commenting that's new on your account, I always go like through their entire like at
Oh,
least like I try
absolutely.
to see what is like if there's something there for me to follow them, because if I'm gonna
Yeah.
start seeing their stuff on my thing, I'm like, do I really, is it just one
Yeah.
photo? Are they just being nice? What's going on?
Right.
and it's just interesting to see the evolution of someone's account. So
Yeah, it's fun. I've gone away. Oh, that one was almost a mistake. He was almost too dark. I put him in there, took the picture, and I didn't mess with it for a while because one of those ones, everybody has one. I'm sure you guys do too. Has that photo? It's still sitting there, waiting for you to either delete it or play with it, and you're just kind of like. And every time you play with it, it's not the right time.
no.
Yep.
It's just like I don't feel it. Okay, put it away for now.
Yeah. No, definitely. This photo, man, it's like,
He looks
again,
scary.
you were not like, even if you look at it, you're sitting there going like, oh, it was too dark at the time. Like whatever happened when you finally attacked it,
Right.
it worked and everything
is
was
he?
perfect. Like he is disappearing like the perfect amount into the background, and you look at like the highlights, and the highlights match the industrial, like the cylindrical
Right. The
backgrounds,
tone
and everything
came
is
together
there.
with that one.
Mhm.
And he looks, and these are probably the worst articulated figures. These
Oh,
first order stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Because this is as far as his arm will bend.
Yeah.
He can't hold the gun like they're supposed to.
No.
Oh.
But man,
There are people who
they-
like chop them up to make them.
Oh, yeah,
work.
and
They
I'm
like
just like,
cut
I
like the hinges and stuff.
Right. And I don't want to do that. I'm not that professional
No.
in doing that kind of stuff. And so I'm like, he's got a mean strut though.
He does. You made him strut well.
Oh,
Yeah.
again, it's just like that back foot coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's one of those movies to where it's like he's the bad guy and he's revealing himself out of the shadow or something. It's
Mhm.
just I love putting stupid stories behind them, whether they're true or canon. I'm not one of those canon people.
Oh, no. Just make stuff up. Make up your stories. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
the whole point of toys is imagination.
Exactly, it's toys. People just
Yeah.
don't get that.
Oh, now we get to the challenging ones.
Mm.
Yeah, I took one of mine. And you go, oh, let's do black and white, and I'm like, okay.
All right. I can do that.
Don't twist my arm, especially with my Mando. Don't.
Yeah, I know, right? God, I love that light in the bottom corner.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
Love
just-
that.
that came out. He's the overhead lighting just hits like his feet. It's not a bright surface, but it's a lighter colored, and it just kind of bounces off the pipe.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I messed with the saturation just a little bit in the shadows, it's like, oh, that came out really good. And then
Mhm.
it put a highlight on his shooting arm too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I also love the fact that you can see his like the gauntlet like kind of stands out against that highlight on the one column. I know that's
Oh,
super
yes.
specific, but like
No,
stuff like that
it's-
gets
yeah,
my attention.
Yeah, you don't just see a head and an arm and shadow.
No.
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to see him.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing like I said, the texture to things too, like his cape, like you can see the patterns and stuff of that nature. That kind of stuff gets me on a photo, like actually like on his side of his torso, you can see the actual like how the figure works instead of just silhouettes. Like a black and white
Right.
photo to me is like usually has some tangible textures to them because the figure does. You want to showcase that. So your stuff is like I tried really hard and I have a very I don't know what it is, but I can't make those rough edges on my photos. It makes me like makes my heart hurt. And I tried really hard. I was telling Scott, I was like, I really tried to like get out of
It's
my like
hard.
box, and then I was like, I can't do it. Justin's awesome, and I can't do this.
I
So
know.
you're gonna see it later on the vine,
Yeah.
but
My wife challenged me for. Well, I had 2 challenge issues to me for next month for
Mhm.
April. One to do a top 30 action figure of mine for Black Series countdown.
ooh,
30 days, 30 figures. And I'm like, oh my God, you're going to make me rank my toys, dude. That's wrong. And then my wife says, but don't do it in your normal style. Make them like a little bit more clean, a little bit more realistic. And I'm like, I think I have
It's gonna be
2.
fun.
I have 2 so far I have the list done, which took me about a week to do.
I was gonna say it's like ranking your children.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's a weird
My
thing
top,
to try to do.
yeah, my top 5 figures are easy. My favorites. After that, it's throw them in a pile and pick one. It's probably
Yeah.
right.
I don't know. Let me go to
But-
Scott's. I'd pick
Yeah.
this.
I love this one.
Oh,
Thrawn
yes.
he's one of my favorite characters. And
Yeah.
that just turned out brilliantly.
Well, I
Mhm.
appreciate that. I was talking to Steph a little bit before you got in here. Shooting in square for me, was the strangest thing. I said, if you look at my raw photos, like unedited, just what I took, they are very clearly framed and photographed as rectangles. And then it's very clear that after the fact, I was thinking in square, because if you look at it, it's not like it's like, no, he was not thinking about a square. So that was fun. That got me way out of my comfort zone, because I am not a square shooter. I very, very rarely think in like a 1-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
And so I enjoyed that. That was probably one of the most like making my head spin kind of moments. But yeah, like trying to go for that lighting and stuff, and trying to get a little bit lower for your photograph, because you shoot lower than I do. I tend to shoot kind of on like a level plane, and I didn't do it as much with this one, but the Sabine one, I tried to make sure I got like deeper and underneath and kind of up, because it's not something I typically go for. And I was like, okay, that's really important. I have to do this. I have to do it for a photo. So it was fun.
Yeah, that one just turned out so well. Everyone always highlights his blue skin. Which is all great, because it hits such a unique character.
Yeah.
Of course.
But just he was the first Imperial officer that we saw in any shape or form have all white. We saw, there was a couple. Now that you look back in A New Hope, in the original Star Wars, there's a couple of guys sitting there, and you're like, oh, hey, why are they white? I don't care.
Yeah.
And then when you look back, you're like, oh, they were somebody important, because this guy was important.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you would say, I totally went out of the box. I did a rectangle, and I'm gonna be okay with it.
Oh no,
that's awesome.
Oh God. That is so much the contrast, similar to the Mando black and white shot, Justin, that you did.
Yeah,
it's those really aggressive
amazing
highlights in specific areas against really, really black, dark areas. It's
even the darkness of the outfit just kind of helps out. It helps the highlights pop more.
Exactly. And it's outlined similarly to the way, like, I love how I'm pointing at the screen as if somebody can see what I'm pointing at.
Yeah.
But you can see how like the figure is outlined in the same way that you had Mando outlined with these like really hot spots. And I think that's just so cool. I love it. I love it when a picture, when you first see it, the first thing that pops into me is, other than what figure it is, sometimes it's the emotion that's behind it. Maybe not the emotion that you felt, but it's the emotion that's coming across to me. And it's like, this person right here is pissed. And they're going this way, like right at you. And you're like, oh, this is really, really cool. Yeah. That's the tricky thing with art. It's, you can put in as much as you want as far as what you want the audience to take away from your work.
Right.
But at the end of the day, 50% of that decision falls onto the viewer.
Absolutely.
And I think there's something really fun about that. And I love once in a while hearing somebody interpret one of my photos and where it goes in a totally different direction than I meant for it to go. And I'm like, okay, that's way better. I like that. I really like that.
I mean, like, it's funny that you say that too, because like I'll have somebody leave me like a comment like sometimes, and I just took some random figures, stuck it in a tree, and like took a photo. I'm like, oh, that looks great, and they like made this whimsical story about it, and I'm just like,
that's my favorite thing ever.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, Scott, you mentioned this custom group that I have coming. I have 3.5 done. It'll end up being 7 figures total, I think. But it's like, because of you, it's like, I'm going to put these guys in a story.
Yeah.
I'm going to just do a whole line of these guys doing whatever it is they do.
I love that. And that's
whether it's walking through a forest, Lord of the Rings style, or, action. Something is going to happen with them.
That is one of the fun things about when you start customizing your figures.
Yeah.
You don't have to go all out. Like, there's some people out there who do some amazing customs, but like, like your customs are far more detailed than any like customs that I've done.
He's just painted. Okay.
Like, but it's so cool. Like, it gives you an opportunity to create a character that you can fit into the universe you want it to fit into, but there's no preconceived notions of who that character is. It's not like when you're
Right.
photographing
Mhm.
Luke or photographing Yoda or photographing Captain
Yeah.
America, where it's like
their
everybody
story,
knows.
You know what they're about.
This is something we've never seen these people that you've made. So these
Right.
troops are strictly, they will be what you want them to be.
Right.
And,
I've done some clones too. I
Yeah.
just made them dirty,
yeah,
and then just
give them their own story.
Yeah,
That's the fun of this.
that's when my wife's like, oh, so she bought me paints. She bought me this little gadget to help
What
me
is that?
see.
Oh, like
It's
a
got a
magnifying glass. I
magnifying
think.
glass, but it's a smaller one.
Hmm.
And then she bought me like the tiny brushes to get like the little spots that are a little harder to do. And
Yep.
she's like enabled me and pumped me up about all of it so much. It's like, okay, cool. This is fun.
So important to have it. You got to have an enabler in your life.
Oh
You
God,
have to.
she does. It's to the point to where she looks for toys more than I do.
Mm-hmm.
We'll
Yep.
go to Target and I'll be with my son over here. She'll come around the corner with like a few in her hand.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've been hunting for 4 weeks
Yeah.
and not seen one figure. You walk around the corner and find all of these.
Yep.
How do you do that?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's very funny getting a text from my wife when I'm at work. Like, do you have this?
Yes.
I'm like,
It's
no, I
amazing.
don't. Thank you.
Every time she goes out, do you have this guy? Yes. When did you get him? I said, you bought him for me.
Yeah.
Oh,
I find that funny because like Devin's always like, I never know what to get you for Christmas because you always have everything already pre-ordered
yes.
and it's
That's what
coming
she
in the
said. She
mail.
goes, you're so
He's
hard to
like-
buy for. And I'm like, here's my list.
Yeah.
I was like, tell him, I was like, no,
Take this.
I'll give you some ideas.
Right. I don't want to just buy you toys. Well, why not?
Yeah. What else do I want?
Yes.
I got flowers one Valentine's Day, and I'm like, how much did you pay for these that I did not get an action figure
Right.
for these?
Yeah, absolutely. Red roses. Is there an imperial officer in there?
Is it
somewhere?
hiding? Like, do I need to dig? I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. Like, what is this? Do you not know me at all?
Right.
No, yeah, it makes fun.
So fun.
Oh
it.
man. One of the questions I always like to ask people because it's like neat, and one of the reasons we do this hobby is for fun. But is there any like companies or any kind of things that you want to do? Like, would be like a great moment of like career wise? Is there anything you want to do with your toys?
I was talking to my wife about it, and she doing product shots would be fun,
Mm-hmm.
but they kind of tell you, hey, this is what we want to do.
Hmm.
Well, okay, that would be fun. Pay me to take pictures of those toys. If I could take them home, that's different. But if I'm just taking a shot in their light box in their all black background for whoever it is, or okay, that would be all fine and dandy. But I would really love to, like, Scott, actually, you're also the first one to mention, hey, you should put a book together.
Mm-hmm.
And then that got me thinking, no, nobody wants to see a book of all of my stuff as much as they say they might want to. Maybe if I get a bunch of friends together, we just put a book and throw it out there,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just to each
Yeah.
other or something. That's the stuff I want to do, or make a
Yeah.
calendar for random stuff. Or
Yeah.
I was always thinking it's funny that we all like make prints and everything like that, and no one really knows who has them or where to get them, and to have a
Right.
common place just to have
Right, yeah.
like
I think
prints
that would
from
be
like
fun.
communities, like some of those support pages, like be like, hey, here's a
Right.
website, let's put up all this stuff.
Yeah.
If you want to put something up, you can do
Yeah.
it here.
Put a
And
book
I-
together almost like a catalog.
Yeah.
Contact this person if you want like this print. He'll print one out for you and send it to you. That
Yeah.
way everybody gets involved. It's not the person that put out the book who's getting all
Yeah.
the
It's hard
That-
enough to try to
that's-
see people's pictures on a daily basis to be able
Right.
to find the ones you want and get them in.
Yeah, exactly. And to me, it's like, okay, how many hours of Instagram time am I going to say? Oh, I like that picture. That's going to be also, that would also be the fun part of it, and going through and be like, ooh, can I use your picture for a book? I'm going to send you the book, and then you give me information if people want to buy your print. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool. That's really, really cool. In addition to that, the like people you would want. I'm sorry, my dog is apparently barking at
It's-
the mail person. I'm assuming.
Oh,
I
yeah.
would
Fair
guess.
You're getting action figures in there.
Because it's the only
I
thing I
know. Are
can
you-
think of, because she really doesn't bark at
Hey,
much.
Scott, you got something coming. Come here.
What is it? Is it something good? Tell me.
Yeah.
Tell me. Is it a
Right?
box? How big is the box?
How
Let
big
me
is the
know.
box?
How
If
big
it's
is
a
the box?
thick
I need to
envelope,
come
I don't
upstairs
want it.
right now and hide it.
It's like,
Yeah.
it's like, goodness gracious. But what I was gonna say, this is a question I wanted to pose to you. Like, as an action figure collector, like unless you're really, really deep in the custom world where you can like 3D print things and blah blah blah,
Oh, geez.
you're kind of at the mercy of the companies.
Right.
So I want to pose a question to you, and Steph, you can answer this too because I don't think I've asked you this question before. If you could have any company manufacture any one character, it doesn't matter, price doesn't matter, it's just you could just have it, like one company manufacturing a particular character that probably would never otherwise get made, what would it be?
Ooh. Hasbro just tried for me. I'm not a Dungeons and Dragons geek, but I have read a lot of the novels,
Mm-hmm.
and I do have the Drizzt Do'Urden figure that they had for Hasbro Pulse.
Yep.
The figure's great, articulation, and it looks amazing. But I wish they would do it. They would get the author and say, create him.
Mm-hmm.
And make him the way that he's supposed to be. I understand with the way that the dark elf is supposed to have, darker than black skin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't do that in today's world, apparently. But I wish he would have been, the cloth goods. I want cloth goods on everything that's supposed to be. I want cloth capes everywhere
Mm-hmm.
because they're so much better. But I wish they would be able to do that character from those novels so much better. Do it like perfectly, because I know real hair is hard to do, but give me multiple heads and that's fine.
Yeah.
Give me the multiple hands. Interchangeable things here and there are always fun, but I wish they had a great character or a great figure for him. That would be amazing.
Yeah,
my favorite my favorite fictional character of all time is him. I mean, he's got 25, almost 30 novels of just him being the main character.
Yeah, he's got a long history.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're immortal. It's like, oh, okay,
Yep.
you're gonna just continue
Go forever.
If somebody chopped your head off, you're good.
Yep. That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that pick. That's awesome.
It's great.
I'm trying to think of something for me because I collect in so many different formats. So it's
I know, that's why I thought this might be a little tricky for you.
I don't know what company would be able to make him that way. It would have to be like a Hot Toys.
Yeah.
Kind of a deal.
Well, do you want them in like the same scale as is that, or do you want like a larger 6 scale figure?
For him, probably a 6 scale would probably have to do.
Yeah, because Asmus Toys does all like the Lord of the Rings figures and the Hobbits and stuff, and they do the hair and stuff of that nature. That might be a company to look at. I actually was talking with someone about this, and actually MJ is making me some 3D printed wings for this, kind of for my Mythic Legions figures, because I realized they don't have like Mythic Legions is amazing, great stuff, but I loved like Greek mythology and stuff when I was a kid, and so he's making me Icarus wings because I really want him, because I got my Minotaur and stuff like that, and I really want to like kind of do that. And I've been seeing a lot of people kind of putting up, and they have like Medusa as in like the Schleich kind of small one, and no one's ever done like full lines of figures from the like original.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah, just some really cool like Hercules, Medusa, like classic mythology,
the classic characters from like Clash of the Titans.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe not all in the white robes, but do
like
them how 300 style, how they would have told the story.
Yes. Like some actual, like, again, soft goods, like the cloth, do like the whole thing, and just like the snakes and Medusa be posable, like be amazing.
Yeah.
I like that. That's cool too.
And the snake body
I'm thinking of what kind of amazing outdoor shots you could do with that.
Absolutely.
That'd be wild.
I have a lot of like foam stuff because I got that wall built and the bridge, and I have to show this off a little bit more because Terrafoamer is the one who made it for me, Graham, and he made it so it comes apart so I can pack it anywhere I want, because that was one of my things. I'm like, I need to be able to pull this out into the forest. I'm not going to be doing this in my garage.
No, you want to truck it out into the woods.
Yeah, that's why I wish
he like made it break apart so I could build it anywhere I wanted.
I want the same for that. I have my indoor playset, forest playset, and I wish I would have done it so I could take it apart and take it with me somewhere instead of it's gotta kind of stay on a table. But that display that you got is awesome. That bridge and that
Beautiful.
is so amazing.
Yeah, I was very pleased. It was my first like custom project to order with somebody, and I was super nervous, but he was like amazing. He sent me pictures of it like in different stages and everything like that, and it was just like he's one of the coolest people. And I have a
great.
project in the works with him right now that I'm like 6 months out because the guy's so busy.
Yeah.
But I want like a stained glass window for my Nosferatu. I'm gonna get like the entire like sanctum.
That's gonna be awesome.
Mm-hmm. So, but I might want a maze. See my Minotaur and get everything.
Man.
Your whole house is just gonna be taken up by
just
like
one whole room.
dioramas, just like everywhere. There's oh gosh, I can't even imagine.
Mm-hmm.
That would
Pretty
be
excited.
that would be pretty cool to just have a gigantic diorama room. Like I know there are some people out there on Instagram. I've kind of seen them. I think even Lord of Thane. Like I don't know if any of you guys follow him.
Yeah.
He's got a pretty huge setup.
He's got some good
like,
stuff.
I've seen like a walkthrough of his area, and I mean he's built all kinds of like just wild things. There's another guy out there who has a room that's all like 3 3/4 scale dioramas like built into the walls and stuff like that, so you can just move stuff. It's all lit. It's got all kinds of like 3D printed things.
Right?
Yeah. But I mean,
You must not have children.
No, definitely not. There's no way. You can't. Or you have to have an enormous house. If you have an enormous house, sure.
Enormous house with a locked door.
Exactly. A spare room.
Yes.
It's got like a code on it. Yeah.
I did have fun the other day. I took out all my Mythic Legions, and my kids and I would just play in the garage. So it was the most fun I've had in a long time. Yeah, we threw foam rocks with the catapult. It was pretty fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Pretty bad. So this is kind of coming. We're gonna be towards the end of this all chat and everything. I just have to chat about life, which is
always at the end. That's always super important.
Yeah, and because you kind of went through all the highlights and stuff. Are there other hobbies around toy photography that you are interested in?
My wife and I, we've dabbled into. We went to a paint night,
Mm-hmm.
one of those, and just to see how it is. It's really fun, and we really, really enjoyed it. So we started looking on Pinterest and all the other places, the paint by, step by step. And so we just started just having fun with that. And we have paintings kind of everywhere that we've done. And we've really, really gotten into like actual artwork.
Very cool.
Nothing huge or anything. And I think I've posted like a grouping of some of my, like I did a couple of Star Wars ones and it's just fun. It's relaxing. We put some music on. Have some tea or coffee, and we just kind of just hang out.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes our little cousin comes over. She starts, but she's like at that age where like, I want to surprise you. Don't look at me, and she'll do stuff, and it's just it's really fun, and we found that it brings us together as a couple as well. It's just like let's just have fun together, and much more than just sitting and watching a movie or anything like that.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Here's a like kind of a spin off on other hobbies and whatnot. Has toy collecting and toy photography, has it opened you up since you started doing it like on social media? Have you been opened up to any new things, like things that you didn't know existed before? Anything that you've been exposed to that it's like, oh wow, I didn't know this was a thing. You know what I mean? Like, because I've come across some things that I just didn't even know were out there that since I joined this, and in a good way, nothing super like weird, but like, I've talked to Steph about this. The thing that I was blown away by, like I don't know why I was blown away by, but Barbie doll photography.
Oh yeah,
I had no idea that was a thing. And they are amazing. Like some of these, like they look like magazine shoots, and I'm like, what is going on? I can't remember
the handle of that person, but I follow them, and it's like this is amazing.
It's crazy, and so there are just so many things like that I just didn't even know were out there that I've like come to find. Is there anything specific that you've kind of learned while being as a part of this community?
I recently connected with his handle, the Pirate Spoils.
I
think I knew you would like him.
It's amazing.
As soon as I saw his black and white, so just his, and he calls them, carts or whatever, he calls them models. I'm like, oh, those are Hot Wheels, dude. It's, just the little cars and putting them with the perspective of being in the parking lot
Oh
of
my
this
gosh.
grand
Amazing.
building, or the the London Bridge is behind him. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
man, that's just so cool.
I know. He's wild. He it just opened me up to some really cool things that I had never really seen people do.
Right.
I love his stuff. I love it. I love how distinct his style is. And
Yeah,
it just
absolutely. And he's
it's
got
so
that
clearly
glow
him.
to his lighting, whether he messes in Lightroom or anything like that. The way that they're framed, the way that they're done, it's just
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Well, I know
Mhm.
we had started talking because he shoots film too.
Right. Yes.
And that was something that I had finally brought back into my life, and so we've talked a little bit about that. So honestly, I'm not sure how much post he really does, because I know some of the
Mhm.
stuff that you're seeing is actually shot on film.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, film photographers, speaking from my own personal experience, we tend to be a little snobby about over editing and
Oh,
stuff like
absolutely.
that. So I wouldn't be shocked if a lot of that is just straight out of camera the way he does it.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't
So-
doubt it. He's a good dude too. And poor guy, he's like, okay, this is day 67 of lockdown with
Mhm.
me and my toys.
Mhm.
Can't go to work. It's snowing today, so we're gonna
Yep.
go do this. It's like,
That's
oh,
what he does.
awesome. And his
Yeah.
miniatures that he's getting,
Mhm.
the house to where he's putting everything there. It's like, oh, dude, I can't wait for you to have pictures of this.
Yeah.
Oh, I have color. I don't want the color. I was one of the person to put no when he
Yeah.
put that on his story. No, I don't want
No.
color. Don't do
No,
color.
just do your thing. We
And
like
then
what you
messaged
do.
him, if
It's pleasing.
you want to do it, do it. I'm never a person,
No.
should I do this? Should I do that? Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But please don't do that. Don't
But
do
don't do
color.
it. Absolutely. If you're listening, dude, don't.
Right? Yeah, don't do that.
We love what you do. Don't shame.
Yes, it's amazing, and that is the one thing that I love about this whole hobby, this whole community, this group of people that the three of us belong to. Meeting people
Mhm.
and connecting with them, no matter what the background, no matter what beliefs, no matter
Yes.
what is going on. I mean, I could have a box full of guns and be like, "Woo, let's go!" But because of the toys and the way we love them in our collections and stuff, it's like that's the connection.
Mhm.
Everything else
Exactly.
can be. I mean, we're not hurting each other in
No.
any way, shape, or form.
No.
And I think that's the amazing part. Is most of us, I would say, 98%, are
Agreed.
people who are, no matter what kind of picture you post. I can throw one on the floor and take a picture. They're like, "Oh, you did this with that figure," and blah blah blah. I said, "Dude, he fell down."
Yeah. Yeah.
But people will still
That
say, "Dude, that's
positivity.
awesome."
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's what drives. That's what drives me to continue.
I
Mhm.
agree.
Is just, oh, you think that's awesome? Okay, let me try that again.
Mhm.
And then it turns out differently. Like, but then somebody else will say, "Hey, that's really cool too."
Yeah.
So
I agree. This community, and I know we all kind of harp on it a bit. Like, most of this community comes into it with a really positive attitude. I think part of it is, truthfully, most of us are not. This is not a super competitive
Oh, no.
market. We're not trying to get like rich and famous off of
Right.
it. So I think that helps out a little bit. Like, whereas in other communities, there is the opportunity to, make a lot of money. So
Right.
you end up with that kind of like people butting heads, and,
yes,
people are less likely to support one another. Whereas with
Mhm.
us, it's like, I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I like what I'm doing. I like
Right.
doing this, but my actual toy photography, maybe it will connect me to some other way to make money, but that toy photography itself is not gonna,
Yeah.
me supporting Steph or me supporting you. Like, it's the three of us supporting each other is not going to directly impact our success. Like, you
Right.
know what I mean? It's not. It's just we're just doing it, and we like seeing
Right.
one another do
Yeah.
what we love.
Yeah, we're not looking for that follower number to heighten up.
Mhm.
No,
You know,
honestly,
I
the more
joined those-
followers I've been getting, it's like, I'm almost kind of like happy where I am right now. I think I'm like right at about 1,000,
Right.
and I feel like every single time I add more people, though, it's the quality of the comments kind of goes
Yeah.
down. My actual personal connection, like, I like talking to you. Like, I
Right.
like having interactions with you, Steph. You've been with me since like the beginning, pretty much.
Right.
Like since I started doing this.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And-
your happy hours.
Yeah, and I don't want to lose that. Like it's not
No.
worth it for me to have 20,000 followers and like
Right.
all of a sudden
Not
I
have
can't
any
keep
connection.
track. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. The guys I mentioned earlier from Australia, they tried that little photo loop thing,
Mhm.
and they just found too many toxic people. So, just,
Yeah.
and they're like, okay, we quit. We're done.
Mhm.
Which sucks for them. And I joined their loops to get, to just kind of push them as toy photographers, because they do the same thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They love the different lines and they do other stuff. It's like, all right, let's bring each other up instead of saying, hey, this, you had to do this, you got to do that.
Yeah. There's
Like,
just
no,
No,
What
you just
you
have
wanna
fun
do.
and you support each other and you enjoy that people do things that are different.
Right.
You introduce each other to new things. That's the fun of it.
Right.
Like that's, I mean, Steph, I never would have known what a Nendo was if I hadn't met you. And I wouldn't,
Absolutely.
and now I own them. God help me, I now own them. And it's just one of those things like, trying new things. The fact that I got to experiment and really dig into Justin's photography, and this is something I want to keep doing because
Mhm.
it really forced me to look and look and look, and I just stared at some of your photos, Justin, for no joke. Like there were photos that I just like had my phone in front of me and I was like, okay, I'm gonna pull this up on the iPad, and I'm like looking at it and I'm like,
yeah.
all right, okay.
And
That's the point.
100% honesty, I'm going to say 75% of the pictures are all accidents.
I swear most art is an accident.
Let me just move this. No, nah. Let me
Mhm.
move this over here. Nah, nope. Okay.
Yep.
And then I feel if I overthink any of them,
Mhm.
then it's not good enough.
Are
The
you
harder I try.
when I go out, like I'll go out in the forest or whatever, and I'll take a walk. I always look for a spot and then think about what figure is going to kind of go over there. And since you have like your spot that you kind of go to and look at,
Right.
I feel like that's the same thing. They're happy accidents, but you realistically are showcasing the location, and then the figure kind of comes
Yeah.
secondary, and then you're like, okay, now how can I make this work?
Yeah, because
together?
there's some figures and characters that I probably wouldn't ever put in that
Mhm.
background. I'm not going to put Vader there. I don't think he's too dark of a person to be in those kind of shadows, unless I have the right lighting, which I would have to bring 30 lights with me in order to get him just right in those shadows. But those, the troopers are almost perfect
Mhm.
because they're just so light colored, and if you put them in shadow, they don't disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're soldiers, so okay, they're going to be walking around some city or some, so it's almost like a believable area
Mhm.
for them to go. Same with the Mandos, you can put them anywhere because they go anywhere.
Yeah.
So
Have you-
and then
Have you gotten any funny reactions? Just because you did mention that you shoot like at work, like do the people you work with know like what you do like for fun? Are they connected to that at all?
one guy does, but because of my shift, I've either been on swing shift where I work 11 or midnight or later, or
Mhm.
I've been on graveyard shift, so there's nobody there.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I get all my work done and I have like all this downtime and I can't go home early. So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, let's just go take a walk. And I look around, I'm like, ooh, that would be
Mhm.
cool.
Mhm.
And the troopers are my deal. So it's like I'll always have one or two with me somewhere.
Yep.
And then, all right, stick them here, and it's really just by accident. Sometimes I'll look at a spot and be like, that looks like great, and it just doesn't come out right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I've tried to
Yeah,
do
we've
like
had
Steph's
those.
like, oh, we're going to the forest. I'm going to bring everybody that belongs in the forest. And it just doesn't work sometimes.
Mhm.
But then
I-
I'll bring my
I've-
Ewok to the beach and there's a tree and it's perfect.
Yes, that happens.
It does. I usually pack way too much when I go anywhere,
Oh,
and I
way
end
too
up.
much.
I look like I'm moving out of my house when I
Yeah.
leave to go on a photo shoot. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, my wife says, do you have your backpack of toys? I said, yes, I do.
Seriously, I always bring way more figures than I even take out. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try this one, and this one, and this one. I usually take like one of them out. And I'm like,
Right.
oh, okay, well that
Yeah.
was silly. Why did I do that? Or I get to the spot and I'm like, oh, I wish I had this person instead.
Yes. We're going to Yellowstone in June.
Ooh.
So instantly it's like, okay, the Ewok's coming
Mm-hmm.
and the Scout Troopers are coming.
Mm-hmm.
but then I think it's like, okay, who else could go?
Yeah. Who
And
could
so-
potentially be there?
You can't
Yeah.
go wrong with any droids.
Yep,
That's true. It's true. K2 is
K2.
like, he's one of my go-tos now.
Mm-hmm.
And then R2, I think, would be cool. Just because there's a lot of different environment up in Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's,
It'd be interesting just to take whatever, even for the color contrast on some of
Yeah.
like the other types of troopers and stuff.
definitely.
Mhm.
And I'm bringing my son's dinosaurs.
There
Oh,
you go.
yeah, you have to. You have to.
Yes.
'Cause he's got some of the Jurassic Park ones that look really good. And it's like,
Oh,
oh, they're
yeah.
coming with me.
Are those like the legacy, the
Yes.
Amber Legacy or whatever they're called? Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
we-
cool. I just started seeing those at Target, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
He got to
whoa.
pick one because he went to the dentist and was a good boy.
Oh, good.
Aw.
So he got the T-Rex,
hmm
which shocks me because, here I am, here's the stormtrooper from 78, and he's got the dinosaur that roars and shakes.
Yep. hmm
And we just bought him the Brachiosaurus.
Nice.
Oh, very
the
cool.
big
The
one.
big one.
Yes.
Yeah,
And he goes everywhere with us
that's
so
so, cool.
far. So it's like,
That's
okay,
so
you
cool.
got those two can come with us.
Yes.
Why is Daddy playing with my toys? Oh, don't worry about it.
So just you're fine. You're fine. Leave
yeah,
it alone.
yeah. Go take
Go
a
do
nap.
something else.
Here's a stormtrooper.
Yeah. He did that too. The pool. I'm taking pictures, and he grabs them and goes and plays with them. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Have you done any, Justin, like any shooting in public? Like I know typically you're saying like you kind of do it when there's nobody really around, but have you gotten to do any where like people see what you're doing? Like, yeah.
We went when I was off of social media. Me and my son went to the park, and the sprinklers went off early, so there was a puddle underneath one of the trees in the grass or something. So I stuck my stormtroopers in there, like they're walking through the water, and there were people around, and they were looking, but nobody said anything. Nobody,
That's fun.
yeah.
Because
You
that's
know?
I'm always curious to hear how people get reacted to. Because I've had people react. Nobody's ever like nothing negative, but
No,
it is
yeah.
funny. Like I was in one area a little while back, and some kid was hiking with his parents, and I will never forget. Like he just like looks down into the box with the toys, and he like looks at his parents, and he's just like, toys. Like
Yeah.
just like pointed at it, like
Yeah,
like why does this dude have toys in this box? And it
Yeah.
was fun. And the parents were just like, he's taking pictures,
Yeah.
come on, let's
Mhm.
leave him alone, don't bother him. And I was just like, it was just funny, like people are always so curious what in the
Absolutely.
world you're doing, because
Yep.
it is very different. It's not the norm.
I've had
So-
people take pictures of me
Yep.
taking
Oh
photos.
yeah, my dad does that.
Yeah.
I'll set the trooper up and do this, and he's just like, only my son. Click.
Yep.
Yeah.
My dad's
It'd be
taken
like
several
random
photos of me
people,
doing it.
like walking by. I could hear 'em,
Strangers.
they'll be like, "That's weird," and like, I'm
Right.
like, "Hello," but I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like,
And they
"Oh,
automatically
cares?
assume that you work for the company or something.
Yeah.
maybe."
Do you work
Like-
for Star Wars?
Yeah.
Yes, I work for
Yes.
Star Wars. I do.
I am a Star Wars employee. That's
Yeah.
who I am.
Yes.
I work for Star Wars. Here's my badge. Like,
Yes.
Yeah. I wish they give out badges.
Oh my god.
Trust
it'd be
me.
Amazing.
Press pass. It just says Star Wars.
Oh
I
my
did
God.
something.
That'd be
Make
fun.
one. All right, Justin. Well, I really appreciate this. This has been
Oh
awesome.
no, it's been an honor. All the people that you guys have had on here, from Scott and Jason and just everybody on here. It's just like I'm now looped in with those people, and it's just like it's so humbling to know that somebody out there digs my stuff that much. I mean,
We
Oh.
love what you do.
it's really cool.
Yeah.
And for anybody who is, looking at the bottom, Justin's handle is there. You don't have a Facebook for it, right? It's just Instagram,
Just
right?
yeah, it's
Okay.
just Instagram.
But yeah, definitely follow. It's he does
Check it
some
out.
really cool stuff, and he's constantly changing. I think that's something
Yeah.
I got to tell you. I am working on that. It's something you are very good at, is just evolving, trying this, doing this for a month, doing this for a couple weeks, doing this for a day.
Right.
I need to start getting a little more adventurous. I told myself in 2021 I was going to, and I still haven't really dug deep, but I think this is going to help by kind of trying to grab other people's styles and
There
play
you go.
around with it. But you really, truly, like, every once in a while, I'll see a photo and I don't even realize it's you right away. And then I see the name and I'm like, wait, what did he just do? And then I have to like go back in your feed and I'm like, okay, wait, there's been a shift. There's been a shift
Yeah.
in the tide. Okay, what's happening? It's so cool.
Next time I'll
It's so
tag
cool.
you I'll just tag you in the description too, and it'd be like, "Here, Scott,
I changed. Here's something new.
Try this one."
I'll be like, "Oh God, oh no,
anxiety is triggered." 3, 2, 1, go.
But it's really great what you do, Justin. I
you.
love your feed. I love
Thank
it
you.
so much.
Thank you. Speechless, really.
And it makes you feel any better. Like when I had Jason on here too for a little bit, we got thrown up on screen with each other, and then they're like, "Oh, you guys know each other," and Jason and I both like looked at each other like, "We do not." Just like so,
especially and
he's really nice.
I've chatted with Jason every now and then, and especially him and Jared Sir Dork.
Mm-hmm.
They are like the coolest people, and and even Jason B. Michael. His stuff, and I'm just like, I'll message them, and they'll never talk to me, and that's fine.
No, they're super nice.
I have conversations with them all the time.
Yeah.
Jason just texts me and say it or message me saying, the 501st figure, how many are you getting? I said, if I win the lottery, we're going there. We're just going to take over the production line. But
no, it's amazing because Jason does a lot of like digital backgrounds, and he was the one telling me, he's like, you need to take a TV out there with you in the woods and just like try to hook it up.
Yeah,
and I was just like, I could try that.
Yeah, that's another thing that I was like, oh, do I want to try the digital and just take it another step? It's like, okay.
You try it, and then you can tag Scott, and then he could do it.
And then I got well, I just tried. So, like, my most recent set of 3 was my first attempt at using a book as a background.
Oh, those came out
which
great.
was what I got.
I try that.
It was like, honestly, it was something I wanted to do for a while, and I stole it from Amy, Cattycombs, and she had done, I forget what it was recently, where she took one of her art books and put it behind, and I went, wait a minute, I have to at least attempt it. So it was a real quick attempt, honestly. Like, I think I was at my table for maybe an hour doing those, which is very short for when I normally shoot. I'm like, it goes on and on and on and on. But I want to do it again. I want to keep trying it with some different things. So it's
I think you should do it with
digital's next.
Yeah, I think you should do it with your book.
Oh gosh, use my book like a weird layered Inception situation, or oh my goodness, that would be overwhelming.
All right, well, I'm gonna say bye, but I'm gonna hit the end broadcast, but we can still keep talking. You guys are not gonna go away, promise.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
Well, y'all, thank you for listening to another wonderful episode of the combined SBN F-Stop Rebel podcast. Truly a pleasure. I hope you enjoyed everything. Remember, please do not grow up. It's a waste of time. I am Scott, F-Stop Rebel, and there's obviously Steph.
Yep, I'm still here, and you can find me at Slag My Thrilla or the SBN. You'll see all the credits on the end, but I always want to say, just guys, stay awesome and keep it up.